Welcome to GameFellas, the Retro to Modern Gaming Podcast, episode 21. Today, or tonight, depending on when you're listening, we have not one, but two guests. The first guest is LifeSpiller79.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
AKA Keno. I'm just going to call you Keno because calling you LifeSpiller the whole time, I like Keno. That's a cool name.
And you're lazy.
Yeah. And we also have Daria returning for her second time from Daria Plays RPGs, right? I mean, do you play anything else?
Yes, but I generally talk about RPGs. Play lots of stuff. But yes, hello, hi.
But thank you both for coming on. We will talk a bit more about your YouTube channels later. Well, Daria's had that chance before, but LifeSpiller, I'd like him to... I like his channel, and I sought him out because I've watched his channel for a long time, and he's just very real with what he talks about and what he does. And you sit and you talk about your life, you talk about how gaming affects your life, you talk about the games you're playing, and it's nothing fancy, but I love it, man. That's you. That's what you do, you know?
Yeah, bare bones on this channel.
Yeah.
Very bare bones.
But that's good, man. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
We don't all have to be flashy, you know? It's like...
Yeah, this old camera, this laptop I have, it's a good laptop, but it's an old, I think it's like 720p on it. I was like, oh, come on, man. Yeah. I want high def.
Dude, whatever works, man. Hey, 720p is technically high def, although not really by today's standards anymore.
They're taking that out now. They're considering that not to be high.
It's more like 480. So okay,
yeah, which is crazy.
It is. All right, thanks. We'll talk more about your channel at the end. I'll let you plug some stuff. We also have Mark MSX with us, one of the official GameFellas. How you doing, Mark?
That's right.
Dude, you do, your videos are a little fancier than Keno's, but you do similar things where you sit and you speak what's on your mind, and honestly, you speak a lot of truth in your videos too, man. You just let it all out, let it all out there about whatever topic it might be.
About to release a sort of spin-off podcast that's kind of like that.
Oh, really?
The next few days.
Nice.
Where I basically talk smack for an hour and a half.
And lastly, we have Derek, our producer, who's off camera. Thank you, Derek, for producing tonight.
It was for everyone's benefit.
That you're off camera, yeah. Of course. So, without further ado, why don't we start, like we always do, with what we've been playing. So, Keno, why don't you start us off, man? What have you been playing lately?
Me, I have a lot of energy. So, and then I'm also a multitasker. So actually, I've been playing a little bit of.
Go up
check the title.
Go up and look for it.
Man, because I'm telling you, when I say I'll stop something and I'll play something, I'll pick up something else. Oh, it's Cave Story. I just picked that up a while back.
Cave Story?
Yeah. Give me a sec.
It's a popular indie.
I think I've heard of it before, but I'm not sure.
It's an indie darling.
An indie darling. There you go.
It was probably the first big name indie game.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I'm playing that, and it's actually a really good, basically got the RPG elements, side-scroller, platform, mixture. It's a really good game. I'm playing that. I'm playing Judgment on the PS4, and I just started playing Odyssey, or Assassin's Creed Odyssey, last night, and we were talking about Streets of Rage 4.
Yes.
Played a little bit of it. I was like, oh, you know what? When you said co-op, I was like, you know what? It probably would be better for me to play co-op.
Yes, it is a lot of fun.
When I'm trying to play a beat 'em up by myself, I'm like, but yeah, I'm actually enjoying Cave Story. It's actually really good. It's right up my alley. As far as I like old school retro looking type video games.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like side scroller, and I've been heavy into RPG type games, and so that's probably why I'm playing a mixture of both of those. I just completed Never Alone. Jesus Christ.
Never Alone.
And it, what's so crazy about the game that frustrates me because I can rage quit, and I'm not the type that throws a controller across the room or slams anything, but I will use a lot of profanity, and I don't care who's around. But Never Alone is a great title, like in the beginning, because this girl is basically trying to get to her home. She's trying to get home, but she's going through like all these treacherous little platforms and stuff like that, like ice caps. She's jumping from one platform to another and stuff like that. She's running away from like snowmen, and a polar bear, and it's crazy because the part that rattles me about the game is that when you're trying to jump from one part to another part, you have to. It's like a co-op type game, almost like Brothers. I don't know if y'all remember that game.
Yeah,
like
Brothers. That's a sad game.
That game messes with your mental. If you are not equipped for that, you're not. Like you said, there's a lot of dark imagery in that game. Like away, it gets dark.
And what happens near the end, you know, like I don't want to spoil for people that haven't played it.
Nah,
Brothers, man, it's a dark what happens in that game. But this, have you ever played Inside, like that game Inside?
That game too.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me, that I love those type of games. So this looks like it's right up my alley. And there's like different art styles. It looks like there's different art styles that they use in the game. That's super cool.
Yeah, same makers. I think is it Playground? I think for Limbo and the game you just mentioned, Inside.
Yep, Inside. Yep.
So fast. But
Play Dead. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a few games. I'm probably, because I have what I call my retro Sunday, where I play a bunch of retro stuff. Like I'll break out NES cards, Super Nintendo cards, and go through like a bunch of retro stuff. And I just put my emulator back on my laptop. So I've been playing a bunch of Super Nintendo. What I did is I just go randomly through the list, games I've never heard of, just play them.
That's cool, man. So you pick a day and you make it like a retro day and you play that. That's
it's Sunday.
Not a bad idea.
I ain't doing jack on Sunday, so I'm just like, I got to.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Keno. Appreciate it. Daria, what about you? What have you been playing? What RPGs have you been playing lately?
Well, I've recently started a Game Gear RPG that was translated called Eternal Legend.
Oh,
I'm still in the big.
You and your Game Gear.
It's bread and butter at this point.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to find out your list of games. Go ahead.
So, I'm not very far into it. I did like the first quest, which was kind of cool for I believe it was the first RPG released for the Game Gear. So it's not very in depth and it's not very pretty looking. But the first quest kind of like had a fake out, like it made me go and do the thing, and then I came back and they're like, "Hey, that's not the thing we wanted," and it's like, "Well, fuck." But now I'm in like a cave with another party member and shit's happening. And then on my off time, just for fun, I've been playing World of Warcraft again with friends. Why does that make you so excited?
I'm not. I've never played. I've never played WoW before, but I know everyone in my life has. Like all my gamer friends have all played.
I don't recommend it. It's actually.
I think I'm the only one Z knows that hasn't played it.
Oh, that's right. You haven't. All right. Well, then me and Derek are in the No WoW Club. Yes. Virtual fist bump.
I don't play WoW either.
I play it reluctantly.
You're too young for WoW, Mark. Mark's the baby.
Back in our day, we had WoW on Steam engines.
Warcraft 3, though.
That's right. You did play. Yeah, you did. WoW. But you were like 12 when that game came out or something. So
yeah, but the Warcraft games are so much better than WoW. They're actual
That's
games.
What I thought when it came out. I was like, this ain't Warcraft 3. Forget this.
Oh yeah, I can see how ugly my game is there.
Yeah, we're playing the footage. It is kind of ugly. It
looks like she's riding a wheelchair.
The movement's kind of weird because it looks like the character is like it's not very satisfying to control.
No, she looks
it's got a
squished.
Weird pause to it.
It's like a squished.
It's not a woman. It's a he.
Oh, really? Is this like a standard JRPG type of game, Daria?
Yeah, it's very standard.
It looks Phantasy Star like the little bit sort of. Okay.
A little bit.
What else? What other games other than this ugly Game Gear RPG?
Well, besides WoW, I was playing for a while. I was playing through Dragon Warrior 3 on NES.
Okay.
I kind of got away from it just because I have other responsibilities and I can't just devote all my time to a game that I'm not going to use in a project.
Don't you hate that?
Yeah. It's like I just want to have fun, but I've got so many ideas that I want to make into things. And it was sad because I was actually really, really enjoying that. I had never played Dragon Warrior 3 before. Somehow in all of my Dragon Warrioring, I'd missed that one. So So
I haven't played these. I've played the first one, I think. Yeah, just the first one. I think it's the only one I played, which is a very
Oh.
grindy affair.
That's not a very good that's not a very good sample of the series. It really isn't.
It was years ago. I played the original Dragon Warrior on this Windows phone that predated the iPhone. I got it like in 2005, and I had NES emulators on it. The screen was like this big, and I had this little clamp-on Bluetooth controller. And this was like 2005, 2006, a long time ago. This was like expensive shit back then, and that's how I played Dragon Warrior.
Player or something.
I had a Zune player too. I really did. I was anti-Apple, man. I was anti-Apple.
You really were.
That's why I own Zune too.
You were sticking it to Steve Jobs.
Yep.
With the SanDisk, that's what I did.
Mark, what about you, man? What have you been playing?
Well, of course, I've been back at the shmups. Of course,
yes, you have.
Playing Dodonpachi as usual. You can say that.
Justin's not here to tear you up over it.
Oh, what was he saying?
Dude, he's been tagging you on Twitter and then all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, has he got issues? I thought he was just teasing.
He's just messing with you, man.
He's messing with you.
Yeah, so been playing Dodonpachi as usual, but I also played Nioh 2 that came out. I think earlier this year.
It's kind of Dark Souls like, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's got a lot of challenge to it too.
Really good. I almost beaten it. Almost there. It's really good. I like the Nioh series a lot because it's got a lot in common with Ninja Gaiden, which is one of my favorite series.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. The new Ninja Gaidens, newer ones anyway.
Been playing Guilty Gear. I think I say that every week too.
But, I think you do. Guilty Gear, which one?
Xrd.
Okay.
The new one's coming out. The new one's coming out though next year.
Okay.
That'll be hot news.
Dude, Mark, we need to play some more Soul Calibur 6 one of these days.
Yeah, definitely.
I played some last week with my buddy. We were trying. Steam has a service that's like Parsec now, where you can play games that and we tried it, and it wasn't quite as smooth as Parsec, but it was very playable. I was surprised, honestly.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll have to give that a try then. Yeah,
definitely, man. What else, man? What shmups you said you Dodonpachi? Why are you still playing Dodonpachi when you've already what new goal do you have with it, or you just like playing it still?
Well, I'm trying to get up there with the big boys, get a big score.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like the crazy Japanese guys, like those type of scores, or like
the Western players.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a bunch of people starting to pick up the game. Like Juju Kenobi picked it up and scores already destroying my score, and I'm like,
I'm sorry, man.
I got to catch up.
Whatever.
So, well, and I also entered Zero Ranger into GDQ, so hopefully that gets accepted.
I played a little bit of that. I haven't played a lot of it, but I've played a little bit of it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool if we got into GDQ again this year.
GDQ is games done quick, right?
Yep,
yeah, for people that don't know.
Marathon.
Yeah, speedrunning marathon.
They're starting to accept more like shmups and stuff.
How are they going to do that with the pandemic and everything? Do we know? Like,
it's online.
It's all going to be online? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't there like an actual convention center you could go to, like where people would play?
Yeah, they normally have this huge event in like Minnesota or something like that.
So they're doing a Comic-Con, like where this can do everything online.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. I guess we'll move on to me. And I think 2 episodes ago at this point, I was just going on and on about Breath of the Wild because I'm still playing it. I've been playing it on and off for a year now. And my goal was to do the what is it? The Master Sword quest. There's like it was actually a DLC they added to the game. And and you can power up the Master Sword to where it's powered up all the time, and I did it. It's insanely difficult. Trial of the Sword is what it's called, and I talked about it extensively last time, but there's 3 different trials, and each one gets increasingly harder, and each one, I think the final trial has 23 stages you have to get through without dying, and they start you with nothing. You're naked basically when you start, and you got to work your way all the way through it, and I did it 2 nights ago. And nice. It was fantastic. So now I'm OP as hell running around with my Master Sword, just kicking everyone's ass in the game. So that's great.
Didn't you say this is the first Zelda game you've gotten like this into, right?
Yeah, I've played every mainline Zelda game I've played to completion, I think. But but I have never like. I felt like Skyward Sword was the last one right before this. I felt like that was the stagnation of the franchise, like where I was just I finished it, but I had to force myself to. I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
it was starting to feel stale.
I don't think you were alone in that opinion.
Yeah, right.
Like, it does not have a very good reputation.
And Nintendo, I think, felt that way too, and said we gotta do something. We gotta freshen up Zelda.
Yeah.
And
Someone
they did.
One said that Skyward Sword was like the rich kid who grew up with everything and still never managed to live up to it. I want to say Eagle Record did that.
Just record.
That's good. That's good, Derek. That makes sense. Yeah, that's actually a very good. It's a good example. It was a culmination of what at that point almost 2 decades, almost 3 decades of 25 years of whatever of Zelda games, and they just kind of were like just ran out of shit to do that wasn't the same as every other game. So yeah, dude, they with Breath of the Wild, they took it up a notch, man. And it's like one thing I'm very proud of is that my brother's a big gamer too, but our taste in games tends to differ. He's a big strategy guy, and I don't really play strategy games much anymore. I used to a lot, occasionally, but I've been bugging him for 2 years to play Breath of the Wild. I even bought my niece a Switch last Christmas, and finally the pandemic hit, and he's like, "I'm gonna get it," and he did. And him and my niece play every night now, and she loves it. It's like her favorite thing. Like apparently she's just driving everyone crazy because it's all she wants to do now is play Breath of the Wild. So, and she's 6 years old. So this is her first Zelda game is Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, damn, I'm not going to be able to show her the original Zelda now. She'll be like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I'm very happy about that. It's really makes me happy that I was able to gift that to her in a way. So anyway, I don't want to go on another tangent about Breath of the Wild. I think we talked for like 40 minutes about it on the other episode. So also playing my way through Borderlands 3 still with 2 of my buddies. I talked about that already too. Fun game. That's a lot of fun. It's great. It's Borderlands, it's just like Borderlands 2, except crazier and more weapons, more craziness. I don't think the story's as good. I don't think the villain is quite as good. Because Handsome Jack was a really amazing villain that he just elevated it. The villain in this is fine. What's her name? Maureen or something. But see, I can't remember her name. That should tell you right there. But
it's Jake Paul and someone with an OnlyFans account.
Yeah. Oh, Jake Paul is the other guy. Is the other? There's 2 villains.
No, but he's an annoying douchebag who's famous for videos. So yeah.
That's right, of course. So yeah, Borderlands 3 is good, man. I would definitely play it.
Out of the trilogy, which one did you like?
I haven't finished Borderlands 3, but in terms of just fun, Borderlands 3, man, is like it's just crazy, man. Like we have a blast playing. We only play once a week because it's the only time the 3 of us can get together to do it. We play for 3 or 4 hours, which actually tomorrow night, and it's great, man. And like I just built a new PC and I'm playing it in 4K on ultra settings, and it's ridiculous, man. It looks amazing.
It's hurting me right now, man.
And Mark, I'm getting at least 60 frames a second or higher, so you would be very happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have that, man.
Yeah, in 4K. So anyway, I know. Yeah, I that was my pandemic gift to myself was a computer, so I built one. So anyway, yeah,
all right.
Yeah, dude.
Gotta have the computer.
Yeah, you gotta have the computer. So it also helps with editing, makes it quicker. So anyway, okay, can I forget this time? Can I talk about Streets of Rage 4? Keno, and you said you played a little bit. What do you think of it? You said you were on the fence, like you were kind of in the middle.
I'm on the fence right now. I think, like I said, I think the experience would be more in depth for me personally if I did experience with it, maybe doing co-op or because for one thing, and this is crazy, I didn't really play the Streets of Rage games. And it wasn't because I just avoided it. It's just because I was a Super Nintendo guy.
Okay.
I got the Super Nintendo like pretty early on. But the Sega Genesis, I only ran into the Sega Genesis because of family. And I played a bunch of games on there and stuff like that. But I never really dove into the Streets of Rage game. Like I have it digitally, like the trilogy. 1 and 3, but I never really dove into it. So going into it, I was like, oh, okay, it's fun, but I think the experience would be more in depth for me.
Yeah,
personally.
beat 'em ups are always better with at least 2 players, I think. Which reminds me, Mark, what do you think about beat 'em ups anyway? Like, you're a fighting game guy, but beat 'em ups are different. They're not quite. They're more about fighting enemies as opposed to fighting each other. So how do you? I'm just curious about how do you feel about beat 'em ups and Streets of Rage? Is that a game you would play? The Streets of Rage game?
Yeah, I love beat 'em ups. They're one of my favorite genres.
Okay, well then we need to play this.
Like, no death. You know, Turtles in Time hard mode and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and Batman Returns on the Super Nintendo.
Okay, yep, that's a good one.
Really underrated beat 'em up.
That is a good beat 'em up. I remember
really
that.
Good.
So I think I used to rent that when I was a kid.
I think I got hard mode clear of that. 1cc on hard mode of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love beat 'em ups.
Okay, all right.
Definitely. Yeah, Final Fight is like probably the first type beat 'em up that I played and loved. And,
Final Fight's good.
Yeah, and they nerfed the Super Nintendo one, the first one, with there was no co-op play. It was just one player. That pissed me off so much.
That was the only downside. You couldn't do it, but I like I said, I did the emulator, so now I can play with code and all that and choose between. But yeah, it's still single, which sucks. But I still love it. I love it that much that I actually go back to it all the time.
No, that's awesome. That's cool. Well, that's how I was with Streets of Rage games. I've loved them, all three. The 3 originals, I love all 3 of them. And this one, a lot of people bitched about the art style at first. Some people probably still do, and I was one. But then the more I saw of it, I'm like, this was lovingly animated. Like, I looked at the style, and it's all hand drawn, and it just looks beautiful. I think it looks.
It's a gorgeous game.
It looks so good.
I have zero interest in playing it, but it's pretty.
Yeah.
I already knew Daria was not interested.
She's
not saying a thing. She was like keeping her shit to herself. She's like, nah, it's not.
Yeah, I saw that coming. But in terms of how it compares to the originals, it surpasses them. I think it could be my favorite beat 'em up ever at this point. Just because they took everything that was Streets of Rage, they left it all in, but they also expanded on it. So there's a little more depth in the fighting. There's finishing moves. There's what else is there? There's combos. Like, there's people. I've already watched a few Maniac runs, 1cc Maniac runs of these crazy people online. Like
probably
Mark.
Iconoclast.
Yeah, probably. He's juggling dudes and doing combos and shit. And I'm like, how the fuck is he doing this? You know, it's just crazy.
One of the best American
That's my new thing.
Players.
Speed run.
Yeah, dude. Well, yeah. I mean, Mark is. I don't know if you know Keno, but Mark is into that. He not so much speedrun, I guess, but he's into no deathing and 1cc games, mostly shmups because it's kind of hard.
If you're playing hard mode and not barely blinking, you gangster to me, man. I'm in normal mode, trying to keep the stress level down. Hey, I work in IT, so I don't have time to be sitting there trying to beat my head against the wall or beat one enemy. Like, day 32, still can't beat this first guy. Bloodborne, I'm just gonna tell you how novice.
Oh,
Bloodborne, I was probably stuck on the first boss for forever. I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. This is too much. I'm going back to Super Mario World. The things make right here is too much. I'm like, who am I trying to prove? I'm saying this to myself out loud, and my wife's just laughing like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, this shit is too hard. I'm like, I don't get it, but I do like watching people demolish games like that. Runs ridiculous. Like,
I agree, and I'm one of those hardcore people. I'm not as hardcore as Mark, but I do a lot. I mean, a lot of my channel used to be anyway built around those type of runs. I guess the high performance runs you want to call them. But when I play normally, I don't always play on the hardest difficulty because, like you said, I want to just enjoy the game. But with Streets of Rage 4, I'm finding myself going up the difficulty and just getting better, like actually trying to get better at it, learning the combos, learning the moves, and learning learning how to deal with, tons of enemies everywhere. But Streets of Rage 4 is great. The music is just as good, I think, as in the original games, which was a huge, important thing. Yuzo Koshiro, the music director of the original games, he came back, did a couple of tracks, and they also recruited a bunch of other 90s video game artists to do the other ones. And there's 12 stages, I think. They're pretty long, most of them. The game takes well over an
that's
hour.
Pretty unusual. That was one part of it that I thought was pretty interesting, is how long it is.
It is long, yeah.
Arcade game, right?
Yeah, I'm appreciative, and you can. The cool thing is, and what's different about it is that the lives that you use per stage don't carry over. Like it sets you back, depending on your difficulty. It sets you back to whatever life you had. I think on Maniac or Mania, you get 2 lives and that's it. And you can, but the way you gain extra lives is by doing crazy combos and shit, like to up your score. You know, it's like a shmup kind of, where the more combos you do and the longer string of combos you can do, the higher your score goes. And there's probably going to be a lot of score chasing in this game, runs like that, you know, to see how their score goes. Because some of these guys were just going through entire stages, like just going from one guy to the next, combo and combo and combo. So
yeah.
It's really cool. We definitely got to play
on it. It's kind of like,
yeah, we need to play it, dude, for real. Like the thing is, though, and this is what I wanted to mention, was it's 4-player co-op, but you can't. It's 2-player co-op online, right? The 4-player is local only, but you can use Steam's remote play together to play 4-player co-op online together. So I've been wanting to test that to see how it works. Or you could use Parsec. You know, Parsec's another option.
It would probably be a nightmare, just to let you know.
Maybe.
Because whenever in Melee you can do 4-player matches, and if you guys are not all very close to each other, and that one dude's in Norway or whatever, your matches are going hell. So that's probably why they did.
It's true, because I played Mortal Kombat 9 with a buddy. He sent me he was like, come on, man, let's play. He's like, I want to kick your ass real quick. And so he's like, this is the dude I was telling you about earlier that's in Romania. And yes, we did have lag.
Yeah.
But we fought through it. And I mean, there was points where I was just like, oh my God, this is rough. Like, you're doing stuff and the delay, the frame rate. Well, the frame rate didn't drop. I shouldn't say that. There was just a delay, like in response for your clicks. And I know I have a good connection because I use fiber optics. No. But yeah, it was rough. But we were just more for chatting it up and playing the game and talking shit.
Yeah, and that's what I'd like to do with Street I'd like to try it with 4 people and just see if we can at least, do it playable. Because with 2 players, it's very playable online. Me and Derek had some issues, but we were playing on Switch, and
oh boy.
Yeah, my experience on Switch, me and Derek had lag the whole time. We managed to beat the game on easy, right? But it was pretty laggy, right?
And that could be my fault because in my bedroom, Wi-Fi is iffy. But
yeah,
and also just the Switch's net play itself is just
it's not great. It's not great.
Servers and everything are just bad.
But on PC,
Street Fighter 3 online on the Switch, and it was
it was an
experience. That's for sure.
I bet that was terrible. But we played Streets of Rage. Me and my other buddy played Streets of Rage 4 on PC through Steam, and it was pretty much flawless. It worked really well. 2 players anyway. So, but I want to try the 4-player. Streets of Rage 4 is great. I'm just happy Adam's back. Adam was my favorite character, and he was only playable in the first game. He's the guy on the screen right now. And they finally brought him back because so many people were like, bring Adam back. So I was happy about that. Anyway, so why don't we move on to our first discussion topic then, which is one that Keno gave us, which is actually quite a good topic, and I think it's one Daria was interested in too, because you said your next video is actually on this topic.
Yeah,
right.
Which
is crazy.
Ironically enough, it just so happened I've got the script written, and I just need to start recording and editing.
That's awesome. And the topic is games I quit playing, or games we quit playing, I guess we could say. So, the older we get, the more valuable our time becomes, right? So. And for as much as we as gamers love our video games, there are sadly some that simply just don't click for us. I, for one, have to pick and choose carefully the games I play these days, and I don't generally have time to play something I consider subpar, right? It's like if I start playing something and don't like it, I'm done, Perhaps it's a certain mechanic that turns you off. Maybe it's an annoying character that you can't stand, or possibly the game is just too difficult for you to have any fun with it. Whatever the case may be, there are usually good reasons that gamers stop playing games midway through. What are some games that we've stopped playing, and what are the reasons that we did? Keno, why don't you start us off, man?
Actually, one of the first games that I quit was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And
Really?
a lot of people love the hell
Yeah, I
out
was
of that
about to
game.
say that's like one of the most popular
But
Assassin's Creed games.
no, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I would say probably the first half of the series, like as far as Assassin's Creed games that came out, like Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and then the trilogy with Ezio. You know, I was into those heavy. I beat all of them. 3, I beat that. I even beat. I even skipped over and beat Syndicate. Now I didn't beat Flag, and the reason why was because I remember distinctly with. I think it was they started it in Brothers. They started that whole, or it was either Brothers or Revelation, where they started the ship aspect. That's what took me out the game. I didn't like it. I
You
don't.
don't like the ships, the sailing, and the
And
ship
so
to
as
ship
soon as
combat.
I saw the dude on it. I mean, the graphics was awesome because it was one of the first games that I played. Well, it was like one of the last that I played on the PS3, and then one of the first that I played on the PS4. Because I even made the switch over. I said, you know what? Let me give this game another try because I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. Still was shit to me. I didn't like the ship aspect. If they took that out and we were just about combat and just fighting and like the normal stuff, and it was just like when they did the strategy thing. I think it was in Brothers, where the guy was coming down and you had to set up your arsenal to attack his military group or whatever. That right there took me out of the game. I am not a real time strategy guy. Like I got family. My nephew, he's heavy into the strategy games and
like my brother.
Tropico and that my buddy's into Tropico. He's played them all. He's just like, the next one coming out. And I'm like, great. I don't care. I'm real flatline with certain games. Like I'll watch you play and watch you enjoy it because I'm just I'm even killed with certain things. I don't care. But Black Flag took me out. I tried like. Oh my God, I tried. And then, Origins, Assassin's Creed Origins, I beat that. But as soon as I saw him getting that ship, I got cringed in my gut. I was like, not this shit again. But it was okay. It wasn't too bad. They balanced out the mechanics and everything. So I was like, so I don't know. Maybe 1 year I'll go back to Black Flag. I ain't got nothing but time. I don't have no kids in the house. So but that was one of the first games that I just like, and that was years ago. I jumped out of that. Now, the crazy part is the next game I got into was Recore. It was a title for Xbox One. It was kind of like a apocalyptic type game where this one lady, she's all there by herself. And it's weird because it's kind of got like futuristic aspects to it, and she's with this robot, and it's great, the elements, platform, and all that. But I think the tedious part of it became so mundane with having to go scour over one part over here to get this, scour over here to get this. It just started to wear me down after a while. And I was like, this is too much. I don't really like having to go back and forth. I'm more of a linear open world games are okay, but as long as you tell me you got to get here,
where to go.
Which a lot of people don't like that. They say that's baby type shit. And I've heard
quest markers, right? Quest markers that lead you from one place to the next.
Yeah. I like to be able to do that. Otherwise, you're going to lose me.
Yeah.
The crazy part is I got more than halfway through the game. And I was like, it got to the point, like you said, if you're pushing yourself through the game, then you're not really enjoying it. You're just beating it so you can mark it as another title killed. And the next game was Control. I'm a big Remedy fan, so I beat Max Payne, Alan Wake, the other type there. Quantum Break. I even played through that, but Control, I did not like the lack of direction. It killed me.
What kind of game is Control? Is it like you have like powers or something?
I don't know if you've seen it. I think it came out last year.
Some people really like it a lot.
Basically had like telekinesis powers.
Okay, Derek's playing some footage now.
Yeah, the aspects of the game are phenomenal. Like leaps and bounds. Like I was like, okay, this game is good. And you're in this I guess it's like an experimental building or whatever. Like they're doing all kinds of crazy shit, and she's finding things out about herself. You're seeing flashes of other people's memories because
Player Redfield.
she tapping into those things. The game, I will say this: if that doesn't bother you, yet again for me, it's directions. If you don't give me, and I guess it just goes back to how my brain works. You don't give me direction, and I got to figure it out for myself. I'm gonna play the game until I get to a point of frustration where I'm like, I'm almost dreading hitting the power button to turn the game on. I'll be like, fuck it, I don't want to play it. And then another game, which was a big title, was Red Dead Redemption 2. It was too slow paced for me. I felt like I was living in the times where we weren't, like technology is now, everything's fast paced, everything's moving, everything.
Yeah.
I literally felt like I was in the times, like we were deprived of all the advances that we have now. Like the having to travel with the horse and the slow mundane things that, like the monotonous stuff that you had to do was so tedious. It would make me feel like, oh, it's just weighing me down.
What's an example of something you had to do that was tedious and slow?
Oh, just traveling through the snow.
Derek's showing just the
small
just wandering around in a field with a horse.
Yeah.
Yes, I was like, oh my god, this game. And I tried. Like I said, I'm a big Red Dead Redemption fan, so I really, really tried to like this game. And I actually I got past. I think I got all up to chapter 3. I think some people said if you get over a certain hurdle, I believe you can tell me which hurdle it is. Because they said after you get past a certain chapter, the game actually moves a lot faster.
That's what I've heard. I haven't played it, but that's what I've heard. Derek, have you played Red Dead Redemption 2 at all?
Yeah, and I kind of got to where it's like Skyrim. I just started doing so much stuff on the side that I wasn't progressing. I could have gone faster with the story, but I was having too much fun doing the other stuff.
Okay, so you like it then? What's the hurdle then? Is there a hurdle? Is it like slower at the beginning or something?
Yeah, it really is. It like the first, I'd say 3 hours are incredibly slow story wise, and there's some unskippable parts at the beginning I think should be able to be skipped, but I can totally see where it's coming from.
It hurt. It hurt for me to even play the game because regardless of what people think about Rockstar, they take their time putting games out. They don't just throw anything out to the wind and see if it sticks. They really take their time, effort. Like, of course, everything is there. I mean, artistic-wise, graphics-wise, storyline. I know there probably is a story in there. Like, I ran across a couple bears and all kinds of stuff, and so of course that raises your adrenaline level and your blood pressure, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you go right back. It's like, you're on a bad roller coaster ride. It's like, oh, okay. And I love roller coasters. So you get up there, you get that high, and then bam, you're all the way back down to the bottom again. And you're just like, this was not worth it. Now, there's a game that I played a long time ago, and I Am Alive. And I don't know if you even
I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, it's a survivalist type game. Like what I did like about the game is that they really played on the survivalist type aspect of the game. Like they really made you feel like this is the end. There is nothing else left. Like you would only have like 1 or 2 bullets in your gun, so you really had to
one for yourself.
Yes, but what I didn't like about the game was the climbing aspect. You would climb up a wall and you would literally see the meter start to get weaker and he would start to shake, kind of like Shadow of Colossus. But
God,
I love Shadow Colossus, but this whole holding on to one little pebble to get up to the next, and the guy would literally start shaking.
Yeah, he's showing it right now. Yep, I see.
Oh, I was like, this is not necessary. We get it. This is the end of the world. I got it. But they wanted to really hone in on that. And so there was like little things that was just wasn't adding up. That was just one of the big cries that I guess you can whine about. But there was other little things, just being able to, they would make you carry, like, I think at one point you had a backpack and then you had to carry a kid. And I was like, okay, you're doing too much. This guy's life has already gone to hell. I mean, I think he lost his family. I was like, it was dark. The game was literally dark.
Yeah, it looks grimy, like almost in black and white.
Very grimy.
Yeah.
And it's an old ass
high contrast.
Yeah, high contrast.
Yes, and so it was unnecessary for you to have to go through all of that. So for me, it was all those. It was a lot of elements combined that just became the deciding factor. It wasn't just like one big thing like Black Flag. That was one big thing for me. And I was just like, I walked out to that ocean and I was like, I'm getting back and I'm going home and I'm done. I don't want to survive nothing. But yeah, that
Gave up your piracy career.
I was like done.
Turning my sail, going home.
Now another game, and this is just the last one because I'll leave it at that. Is the Evil Within, the first one.
Evil Within.
I tried to get into that game, the Evil Within.
Oh, I quit that one too.
Yeah, because it just didn't. I even have the Evil Within Part 2, and that one feels better. I just haven't had time to get to it because I've been so busy. And I'm not a guy that, I know there's a lot of people that's about sequence order of having to play games. I got buddies like that. Like she mentioned Dragon Quest earlier. They won't play it until they have all of the entire collection before they start. Yeah, my hat's off to you because I'm the guy that can jump right in. I'll jump in on part 5. I'm not worried about 1 through 4. I'll figure out what they're talking about later on. Like I did with Kingdom Hearts 3. I jumped right in. I didn't play none of the Kingdom Hearts before, even though I have them. I have Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 and other titles, but I didn't. I was like, I'm just gonna jump in the game. But yeah, the Evil Within, it was just too challenging. Like for me, I guess personally, it was just too challenging. Like it was painfully challenging. And
looks pretty brutal too, from what I'm seeing here, man. Brutal. Just popping dudes in the head in a hospital on their beds, man. Ugh.
I liked the challenge, and then I didn't like it. So I was torn. I was more so torn with the game because I just kept pushing myself to try to play it, like going through this weird. I think it was like a meat factory because this guy had slaughtered up another body. It's very brutal. If you're not,
it is, man. Oh my god.
Type games, then that's not the game for you. But part 2 looks far more better. It feels better. I only put in like an hour. Like it already starts up kind of crazy because you're going in a burning house or something like that, versus going into a meat factory or whatever the fuck it was. But yeah, part 1 took me out. I just couldn't. It took my number, and I was just like, you know what, nobody ever gonna know out of all these games that I've ever played, man, because I played, over the 30 years that I played video games, I probably played thousands and thousands of games. Like, who the hell's gonna care about me not playing in one game?
That's a good way of looking at it, because I struggle with that a lot. Like I'm a completionist, and I like to always finish games. There's very few I haven't finished when I put my mind to it, but I do have a list, and I had to really rack my brain to think of mine because I was like, man, what games have I not finished? Because I always try to push through when I can, but yeah, sometimes you just can't. But yeah, it sounds like with this Evil Within, man. Yeah, if you're not into gore and guts and creepy, bleak atmosphere, you're not gonna like that. It seems like you have trouble with because the last game you were just talking about looks similar. It's kind of a bleak atmosphere. I get him. I mean, even now would be the worst time in the world to play games like this, man, because the world's so damn depressing. With everything going on.
It does nothing to me, man. I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot, so none of that shit even.
That's good.
It's entertaining to me. Like,
that's good. Good you can look at it that way. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Keno. Daria, what about you? What games have you quit playing?
Oh, geez. Well, so I am not a completionist, and I am completely flip-flopped in that stance, in that I have abandoned far more games than I've ever beaten. Some of that may be due to my ADHD, and I have a really hard time just focusing on anything for an extended period of time. So the longer a game is, the higher the chances I'm just going to be like,
makes sense.
Fuck this, I want to play something else.
But yet you love RPGs that are all long, pretty much.
Well, no, because my sweet spot with RPGs is like that 15-hour adventure.
Okay, yeah. There's some of those. I guess you could complete.
There's a lot of those.
I guess there is. Yeah.
They're not made by Squaresoft, but like Shining Force is a 15-hour game. The handheld RPGs are all fucking short.
Super Mario RPG.
Yeah, Super Mario RPG. Yeah, I've beaten that.
That's true.
I have actually beaten that one. Surprisingly enough, I've beaten Chrono Trigger. Like that's one of the few long RPGs I think I've beaten.
But see, we're not here to talk about
Not long.
games you beat. We're here to talk about games
I
you
know.
beat.
So I don't want to cover any of the ones I was talking about in the video that I'm making because that's specifically RPGs I gave up on because they were hard. So that's a completely, I mean, it's similar, but a little bit of a different topic. Famously, or infamously, one that I gave up on was the original Final Fantasy VII. And I know.
Me too.
Well, yes,
Me three.
But,
I've never beaten it.
I can't wait to get to my part.
But I gave up on it at the meteor, the very end game when you got to the hole in the ground. And I looked at the hole in the ground and I said,
"You're like, you're good.
I'm done.
Good. You got it.
I'm good. I don't need to go down there. What the? It's a hole. I don't need to see that." I had issues with that game all throughout it, and a lot of the issues I had weren't specifically the game's fault. I got it for my 14th birthday on PC because I didn't own a PlayStation yet, so I got specifically the PC version. And
which is so weird.
Shout outs to the PC version.
Shout outs to the PC version of Final Fantasy VII.
I love the old school PC ports.
Well, my cousin had it on PlayStation. He was like, you need to get this game. You would love it. You need to play this. So I was like, okay. And then I got it for my birthday. So, and then he gave me the strategy guide. So thank you, Daniel, who's never going to see this. But I had gotten it from Target. I'd gone and I guess picked it up with my birthday money and brought it home and started playing it. And I got as far as the first, one of the first cutscenes. Actually, no, the cutscene where you're like, there's a big ship and it's pulling out of dock because all the fucking F&B in that game are like boring vehicles and crap. And the game crashed. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I take out the disc and I look at it and it's got a huge like gouge in it. I'm like, what the? So my mom takes me back to Target and I'm like, hey, my game's busted. And she's like, oh, well, you've already opened it, so you can't return it. But you can exchange it. So I was like, okay.
Fuckers.
I want to play. It's fine. I want to play it. It's already installed. I can just swap a new disc in. Not a big deal.
Oh, well, that's cool. They let you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I go over to the shelf and so now I'm like, well, I'm here. I don't want to do this again. Let me look. So I'm opening up the boxes and I'm opening up box after box after box and they all are fucked up. Every single disc in their shipment has gouges in it.
Fine.
I'm like,
never heard
what
of that.
the hell?
That's crazy.
It was a bad batch, I
it's like
guess.
It fell off the truck or something.
I don't know. They were all damaged.
Maybe some dude was pirating discs and then
yeah, maybe.
And then like replacing them with effed up versions or something. Who knows?
But why all the same game? You only need to pirate it once.
Well, to resell them though, people used to like steal stock and resell it to their homies.
Weren't the PlayStation discs black on the back though, so that you could? It was supposed to.
Well, this is PC though, so they're silver.
Oh, that's right, the PC
people
one. No wonder they were messed up.
Games like no other, man. Like
I don't know.
Like PC games.
Yeah.
I mean that's true. So I would buy one, take it home, play as far as I could get. The game would crash. I'd go back, get another one, come home, and I kept this going all the way through the game. And by the time. Yeah, so it was really a big pain in the ass. I was, but not so dedicated to finish it because I got to the end. And at that point, I really hadn't connected any of the characters. I didn't care when What's-Her-Face died. I didn't like Vincent. I didn't like Yuffie. Materia was cool. I liked the Materia system. I had fun with that. But I was just like, you know what? I'm out. I don't care. I don't want.
That's a pretty unique experience, though. Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
I've never heard of anything like that.
Discs. I had something a little bit like that, but it was my fault. Where I had Starcraft, and my friends had Starcraft on their PC, and I absolutely loved it. When I was over there, I'd be like, "Yo, what up? Okay, let's play Starcraft." Like, yeah, we're friends. Let's play Starcraft now. And so I finally got it on my PC, and I brought it home and. I just was stupid and I wasn't entering the product code correctly. And like every time I was incorrectly entering it, I was like, oh, there's something wrong with the product code or something. I exchanged it like 3 times before I realized, okay, I'm actually just installing this incorrectly. But
good job, Mark.
That's kind of a similar story.
No.
No one got hurt though. Everyone got functioning discs. It was fine. No one was harmed in this action.
Only your pride.
Only my pride. Yeah.
So Final Fantasy VII, that's one that at least three of us have in common that we haven't finished. What else? What other shameful games are there?
Never beaten any Mario games. I can always get to the 8th world.
Wow.
And then I pussy out.
That Mario 3, Mario 3, the final world is pretty intimidating with all those crazy ships and tanks.
The final world,
back
Mario
then
3
there was no save. I literally played Mario 3 all night because back then...
Yeah, you couldn't save the fucking game.
You couldn't save the game, so you had to play. This is before whistles and all that. I played all the way through and literally saw the sun coming up as I was in the 8th world, and that little hand coming down to grab you. And
See, I would pause the game and then unplug the cable from the TV.
Yeah.
So I'd leave the power running on it, but...
Why would you unplug the cables from the TV?
Because if I'm done playing and someone else needs the TV.
Oh, all right, okay. Oh my god.
And the first thing they'll do is come over and shut off your game. Like,
yeah.
Screw this. You killed Peach, mother.
Oh man, this is the walk of shame here. All right, so no Mario games. What else?
No Mario games.
Have you beaten a Zelda game?
Yes, but it took me... Okay, so Zelda 1, I played it when I was 6. That was my obsessive 6-year-old gaming experience with Zelda 1. And I got all the way up to the final palace, and the battery wiped. Lost my save file. Which
probably leaving it on overnight.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
You could save that one, though, so that wasn't it.
Yeah, it's true.
Probably just fucked up the fingering on
or the battery, the battery just went dead.
Or somebody jostled it. It got hit. I mean, I had an older brother. We were not gentle children. Anything could have happened to this thing. But the save file wiped and I lost my game, and I was like, I'm not playing it over again. Like, it's not happening. But in my 20s, I did go back, and I was like, I'm going to beat this, and I did. So I can't claim that as a game I haven't finished. I haven't beaten any others though, although I've played a lot of them. So
the only one you beat was the original.
The only one I beat was the first one. In fact, I recently was playing through Zelda 2, and I got, I think, to the 7th palace, maybe 8th one, and I was like, I'm done.
I finished Zelda 2, but I was in my 30s. I didn't ever finish it when I was a kid. I don't think I ever finished the original either until I was in my early 30s. I went on this mission in my early 30s to go back and beat a bunch of old games I'd never finished, and Zelda and Zelda 2 were two of them.
I was going through at one point, probably, I wasn't 30 yet, I was still in my 20s, but I was like, I'm going to beat NES games. And I beat, I started with, I'd gotten Princess Tomato, and I beat it. And then I was like a Ghost Lion, beat it. And then I was like, I'm going to do Star Tropics.
Boy.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That one, but I went back later and streamed it, and I think I was using save states. Like, I think I just cheated it. I was like, fuck it. But that ended my string of my marathon of NES games. I was so dejected.
I hear Bug Ducker crying right now.
Yeah, I know, right? Poor Adam.
Aw. I was playing Jeopardy with him the other night.
That's cool. Yeah, for those that don't know, Bug Doctor has the world record speed run in Star Tropics. So, and I watched him for close to a year, on and off, practicing for that. And then, of course, I missed the time he did it, so that pissed me off. But yeah. Okay, well, we can move on to Mark then. Mark's been anxiously waiting for...
Yeah, he's been so patient.
All right, Mark.
Oh.
So, the game that I haven't finished
Final Fantasy VII.
Everyone's favorite games. So, if it's a game you love and adore, I probably stop playing it in about an hour in. So that's how I am with games.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nope.
Never beaten it.
Wait, no, I've beaten Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, older games, I beat them because they're short. So I've beaten older games. But like almost all modern games, I quit about an hour and a half in because I get bored.
Okay.
So like the list is just massive. Like the Dark Souls series, Last
all
of
those.
Us, Breath of the Wild. About an hour in, I'm like, okay, I'm bored. Next.
How are you bored in Breath
yeah,
of the Wild, man? There's
yeah.
so much to do.
Because you're like wandering around. Like I
Yeah.
need
I'm not
action.
into sandbox.
I play Dodonpachi
Yeah,
80
yeah.
hours a
That's-
week. Like, I need
yeah, I know,
instant
yeah.
action right away.
You want? Yeah,
So-
that's a good point.
So like Red Dead Redemption, you mentioned that. Nope, hour in, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not getting enough action here.
Man,
Red
burn
Dead
the hill.
Revolver. Did you ever play Red Dead Revolver?
The
I've beaten that game
original,
like 10
I
times.
actually had that.
but it's a much different type of game.
It's
It's a
like an
really
arcade
fun
shooter.
Yeah.
I beat Gun. Does that count?
I've
Gun.
beaten Gun, but I don't know
She
why I
threw
beat that one.
in.
But yeah, Red Dead Revolver, I've beaten that like 10 times. But Red Dead Redemption, didn't beat that. None of the GTAs I've ever beaten.
Stop.
Vice City, I got pretty close. I got pretty close in Vice City.
I beat Vice City too many times to count.
I beat Vice City in 3. I did both.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
Oh, you
San
did.
Andreas,
Okay.
I gave it a good run.
3 and up, I beat all of them.
San Andreas just goes on and on
Oh
and
my
on and on. I'm like, all
God,
right,
San
we're
Andreas
good here. We're good.
pain and beat ass. And you know what? When
Hey.
you mentioned about the games getting to the end and then being wiped, that happened to me twice because of my son. San
Yep.
Andreas. I'm on mission.
San
90
Andreas.
Yes, I'm on mission 96. I come back and this little joker wiped my memory card.
How does that
spent
happen?
Months
Oh,
playing
because there's
that
not
game.
enough
I
room on the
still
memory
to this
card,
day
so they're
only
like,
get
okay, I
so
got to
far.
delete the file.
Yeah, and then Donkey Kong 64, I got to the very end. I'm in the ring. He wipes all of it. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm not doing it no more. There's too much ago. But yeah, San Andreas, I beat all of them except for San Andreas and then like the first one.
Well, that was a good
But
reason
I-
not to, man. I mean, if your kid wipes your
Yeah,
memory card,
yeah.
it's like
Like it's a super hard litmus test to get them past me. It's got to be like Doom, basically. Doom I beat because it was like, okay, we're
Yeah,
shooting
Doom.
stuff.
oh, it's solid action the
Going-
whole time. Yeah,
we're going
sure.
now. So like
That's
the new
good.
Doom.
Yeah, Doom 2016. Yep.
Yeah, like that one. I
I still
went
got
to that.
Doom Eternal sitting in the plastic wrap over there. I got to play it.
It's basically like
I
if
got
I
that on
can't
Doom
clear the game in 2 or
2016.
3 sittings, it's on the danger list for me not to click.
Okay.
Not to beat
Well,
it.
well, you're a.
Respectable. I'm glad to see I'm not
Yeah.
the only one that suffers from this issue.
Now, it's all making sense now, Mark, because you're into fighting games, right? Because it's instant action. You're the shmups,
fighting
instant
games.
action. Yeah,
When
dude,
you
it makes
play-
sense.
And when you play a game where every
Devil May
frame-
Cry, you know,
like
games
Devil
are
May Cry,
action
where
games.
you play games where like every
Yeah,
single
slow down,
frame is
man.
important, and you memorize 3-minute sections of games for like hundreds of hours, and then you sit down to play like I'm trying to think the game that I was playing, like Last of Us, for instance, Last of Us,
Yeah,
and it's just cutscene.
yeah. There's no way you
Three
would
kill
have got through
guys.
that game.
Cutscene, sneak around a little bit. I'm like, oh
I
my
hate
God, I can't
cutscenes.
handle this.
Yeah,
Fuck
cutscenes are
cutscenes.
it's deadly. That can take
So-
you out of the game.
Yeah,
especially a
if they're
long-
not good
The
ones,
worst
yeah.
one was, did you play the newer Max Payne that came out on the 360? It was like Max Payne 3 or something like that.
Yes,
Oh, it was like just watching a
I
movie.
beat all of them.
Like the cutscenes went on, and they're unskippable.
It's too long.
I like on old system like PS1, Sega CD, the cutscenes were like a couple of seconds long. This was
Yeah, 'cause
impressive,
they
couldn't-
but they didn't.
they
They didn't.
They
couldn't
spend a whole
afford
lot of
more.
time. No.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, the memory space, you couldn't
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
They were just like a little clip, and that was perfect. But now
what's-
it's like, oh, let me sit here for 20
So-
minutes while you
Yeah.
like show
There
me
are
a
Mario
mini.
funny though
like
is
with the
the
long
series that gets a
cutscenes.
lot of crap for this, Metal Gear Solid.
I was
you would
about to
assume-
say
you
you
would
probably.
assume I don't like Metal Gear Solid, but
But
I
you
actually
do.
love Metal Gear
Woo!
Solid because you can just skip the cutscenes.
That's true, but the
I'm just
cutscenes,
like,
the
Oh, yeah.
cutscenes,
Then the game's
some of the
only 5
cutscenes are
minutes
like,
long.
yeah, right.
I just skip right through them, baby.
Yeah, God damn it.
Those cutscenes in the Metal Gear Solid games are
They are,
just
they're brutal.
they're so long and sometimes convoluted and
Yeah,
And,
it's not like you're gonna
Sometimes?
understand it anyway.
most of the time.
Kojima's a hack.
Yes,
MGS3
Derek loves
Agreed.
saying that.
Played.
Agreed. I'm with Derek.
No way, man. I actually played MGS3 for a year straight. That's all I did was play
You can
MGS3.
like it.
Was
It
that the
doesn't make
one
any
in the
goddamn sense.
was that the one in the jungle or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
played
play
it
that one.
on loop for a year. I've probably beaten that game like 15, 20 times.
You make more sense to me now, Mark. Now that you went through that, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. All right.
I like
Well,
that correlation that you've drawn about our games, though. And
yeah.
our personalities,
It's
what we
yeah. It
like,
really yeah.
and what
It's
makes sense, and why we fall out of even playing that game. Like, speaking of Fallout, I couldn't. I tapped out on that game. I tapped out on 3. I tapped out on New Vegas. I was like, I mean, people were literally giving me the game for free. And
Yeah.
okay, great. It'll sit on my shelf with the other.
To my credit, I have beaten Fallout 1, 2, and 3.
I've beaten 1 and 2, but not the old ones, right? But I haven't beaten or even played 3 or 4. You know, that's the weird
Don't
thing.
do that to you.
But here's the thing: I played Outer Worlds and I loved it, and that's supposedly a lot like
New Vegas.
You was probably Well, I don't know. See, I really liked Fallout 3, and I kept losing interest in New Vegas.
Have you tried Outer Worlds?
That's another good game I've abandoned. No, but I bought it for my dad for his birthday, and he loved it. Okay. So I would probably like it.
If I bought my dad a video game, he would just be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Oh no, my dad's a huge Fallout fan.
Yeah, my dad doesn't play games either. Other than
my dad has zero interest in video games. Yeah, zero. He's also 76 years old. So, but
my dad's
Tetris, dude.
I think
Tetris might be the one.
Tetris.
Tetris.
I think I got him to play Sonic the Hedgehog once. I think he tried, and he was just like, "I can't do this. You know, I don't know what's going on here." Yeah. Whenever some people that tell me they played games with their parents growing up, I'm always jealous. I'm like, man.
Yeah, so me neither. It almost sounds a little bizarre, though, right?
Because
it's like, playing games was like a rebellious, youthful
That's
thing.
true, yeah. It's weird that your parents...
My dad was
rotting your brain, and we're like, yeah, let it rot, baby. You know, like, so it's weird to hear, like, people gaming with their parents and stuff.
It is. For
my
me.
dad was a kind of a technology nerd. Like, he was
me.
into audio, visual, filmophile. He liked video games. He really liked tabletop role playing, which kind of led into video games. So my dad's just a huge dork.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
With my kids, so I guess that dynamic will shift.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Well,
new generation.
we're
awesome.
new generation. Yeah.
I
now. Yeah, I love my dad too. My dad's fantastic. He's just not a gamer. That's fine. All right, so let me go through mine quickly.
You can't be perfect.
No, of course not. So Keno is probably going to piss you off, but the first game on my list is Shadow of the Colossus, man.
I abandoned that too.
The remake. I've never played the original.
To no one's surprise.
Yeah.
PS4.
I have the remake. Yeah, I have the remake on PS4. It's the only one I've...
I don't like... You know what? I didn't like the remake, even though... You know, the fidelity, the graphics, blah, 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 blah. Looks awesome. I'll tell you this. It wasn't a game that I tried to quit. It was just a game that just got too hard for me because I got up to like the 11th or 12th Colossus and it just kept beating my ass. That game is... I didn't make past the first one. I kept falling off it and I got frustrated. I'm like, I'm done with this game. I'm not wasting my time anymore.
Oh,
no. See, we need to sit down and talk about this. The first one, I could be like this with the first one. Like, oh, okay. I got him. Boom.
I don't know, man. And there's no direction. There's nothing. It's just like, you just kind of have to walk in.
Run. You should watch the speed run.
I wouldn't want to ruin it for myself, though. You know, I mean, I've still got the game. I bought it. It's fine. You know, but
not gonna happen. Watch the speed run, Zach.
Nah, yeah. I bounced off. I bounced off it too hard, unfortunately, and just because it felt really obtuse, and I don't know. I didn't care. The controls were a little wonky for me.
Yeah, the controls.
Shadow Colossus is one of those games where I'd never play it, but I respect the hell out of it. You know what I mean? It's like, I respect what it does. Like, I respect a lot of these games I don't play, but it's just my my ADD instant need for gratification does not allow me to play them. So
yeah, well, I played Last Guardian, finished it, and I loved it. So I figured I'd like Shadow of the Colossus, but it's actually quite a bit different, you know.
Last Guardian, that's straight.
What did you say about Last Guardian?
You think it's wait a minute? Am I thinking the right game? Is this
same developer?
That was the one that was in development for a billion years.
Yeah, that was like the Duke Nukem 3D of...
That was so broken. I only beat it because I paid for it.
Really? Oh, I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it, actually.
Oh.
I didn't attempt Last Guardian, but I also abandoned Ico.
Oh, Ico, yeah, that's another one. Yeah, from
that
same
thing at the end of the game. You know how much you took me through? Like, the controls were so broken. I couldn't even barely command him to do things properly.
I heard that. I heard that.
I heard there was performance issues or something, but
lag, drop, frame rate.
Here's the problem. Here's the thing. I bought a PS4 Pro, right, and that fixed those issues. because it was more powerful hardware. And I
I can't
think
remember if I played it on the PS because I have the PS4 Pro, but I can't remember if I played it on the original or the Pro.
See, I bought the Pro right when I got it because I started playing the game, and I'm like, I wonder if the Pro, because I was gonna get a Pro anyway. So I got it, and that was the game that transitioned me from one to the other, from the original PS4 to the Pro. And I thought it played a lot better on the Pro. The frame rate was better, and it wasn't as messed up. But I liked it anyway. But anyway, what else? A game I really liked that I didn't finish was Alien Isolation. I don't know why I didn't finish it.
I was gonna say that game.
I actually
there though. There's gotta be something there.
It was, I think, because it's terrifying. I think, and I didn't do myself any favors. I would play it at night, turn out all the lights.
Terrified side of you, I knew that when you started talking about the brutality and all that. And I was like, oh,
Alien Isolation, man, that game will give you a heart attack.
Right,
like
it's your heart. And,
dude, that game is. I think it was just too much for me, and I think I didn't like. In my mind, I didn't say I wanted to stop playing. I just stopped playing. It's just one of those things, and it had to be because of how. But the game it's a great game, though, man. It's really so well done. If you're a fan of the early Alien movies,
it looked like it. I mean, it looked like 1970s future movie is what it looked like. Just like the original Alien. The tech and everything. There's tapes and there's other shit. It's really good. But there was scenes in that game where you're getting chased by that fucking thing, and dude, it's like. And you're hiding underneath a table, you're hiding in an air duct, and the fucking thing's walking by, and you're just like, oh my god, but
I used to get scared when I was a kid playing GoldenEye when the soldiers would turn and shoot you with the guns.
Yeah. Well, Alien Isolation is a good example of a really good game that I think I was just too much of a pussy to finish it. So Alien Isolation, there's a game called Butcher on it's basically a 2D version of Doom, I guess you could say. And I stopped playing that just because it was just extremely difficult. It was so hard. And when I get to the point where I'm a Dark Souls guy. Like I've beaten every Dark Souls, put 100 hours into each one. I love the games. Difficulty doesn't bother me, but this game got frustrating for some reason. It's good. It's definitely a good game, but I don't know. I was just done with it after a while. Like I've had enough. What else? The game
Chrome too, right? Didn't that happen with you in Blazing Chrome?
Didn't I beat it with you? Didn't we beat it?
No, you did not, sir. You went to bed.
Oh, that's right. Well, it was like freaking 1:00 in the morning my time or something. I was like, dude.
Matt, did you play Outlast? You probably wouldn't have been able to play that game.
What is it?
Outlast.
No, I haven't.
It's really good. It's this I believe it's a reporter. He goes to his insane asylum to track down the story and stuff like that and figure out what's going on.
Oh, that sounds
but all the people in the insane asylum escape, and you don't have any weapons.
Oops.
You only survive by getting through the
Not a good situation.
Oh, you know what's a really good game like that I did complete? Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher
Oh, that's
Bay.
a good game. That's a really good game.
Man.
Yeah, on the original Xbox it came out originally. Yeah, I played it way back in the day when it was on the original Xbox. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good game, and I did beat that game too.
Love the game because you're stealthing, you're shooting, and then you're beating the crap out of people. Like it had a ton of variety.
It was good. Yeah, that was definitely good. That's what I did finish. I think. 2 more games I'll mention. Fez, which was that indie darling from
the
Phil
other
Fish.
indie darling.
Is it really an indie darling?
Fez
Let's bring this up right now. Is it, or is it just a piece
You're
of
fired,
hype?
Zach.
I mean, it was at one point. I feel like Fish's personality kind of like swung at the other direction. But at one time,
I didn't care for the game. It's beautiful. It's beautiful and it's innovative in some ways, but it just wasn't much fun. I didn't think. I was kind of like, I don't know. I played it for a couple hours and then it just bounced off it. But the whole spinning and everything.
I remember watching that documentary. What is it, like Indie Gamers? Or
I've watched the movie way too many times.
Yeah,
that documentary. And so they're interviewing that guy, and I had to admit, I was like, okay, this guy is nuts. And I love my nut. Like, I'm always intrigued by like, nutty, eccentric people.
Create the game like that.
That's true. Like, okay. Yeah, the game is an artistic masterpiece. Sure.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, this guy is nutty and crazy and eccentric. I'm into that. Let's try this game. And then I played it, and I was like, this is boring. Like it
Now-
was,
Broken clock is right twice a day.
yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't crazy enough for me. Basically, like, after all the hype, I was like, okay, this is gonna be.
But he
balls
wasn't
out
like
crazy.
a sociopath like that dude from the creator of Braid. He was like, yeah, I don't think
Oh,
people really
yeah.
understood my game. I'm like, okay, dude, it's a video game. Calm down. It's like you act like
Braid, I
you-
think, was overhyped too. My friend,
There
I
was some
played Braid. I was
personality
like,
early indie.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very bland.
I think of that batch, I think Super Meat Boy was actually
Super
like,
Meat Boy
way
was
better.
awesome.
love Super
Yeah,
Meat
Super
Boy.
Meat Boy is really good.
Like way better
Oh,
than everyone else in the list.
those
Yes,
guys
I
were
agree.
awesome. Yeah.
Super Meat Boy was great. I think we're good on this topic. We had quite a discussion there. So why don't we take a break? And when we come back, we will discuss our second topic, which is the moment I knew I was a gamer. At least that's what I'm calling it. So we'll be right back.
Very.
We're back, and we're here to discuss our second topic. The moment I knew I was a gamer. So.
Possibly controversial topic.
Yes, possibly. So if you're a gamer, there's a good chance that you can pick out a time in your gaming life where things just started to click, right? The moment you realized, oh, these video games are more than just a hobby, they are a major part of my life. Or maybe you can't. I don't know. We're about to find out. Some of us can probably pinpoint one particular game or perhaps a console that gave us that insight into ourselves. Or maybe for some, it was more of a broad experience, more than a single game that brought us to this realization. Maybe it was a genre of a game or a series, or perhaps maybe it was just the joy of playing in general. So what do you think? What game, genre, series, etc. Made you realize that you were a gamer? Daria, why don't you start?
Oh Jesus. So I have, like I was saying earlier, my family was always into tabletop games, and then that turned into role-playing games. Our first system was we had an Atari when I was 4, and I would watch my brother play, or I would play the Smurfs game. I wasn't very good at it. Never beat that one either, by the way.
Don't hold back.
Could you even finish most Atari 2600 games? Did they even have an ending?
I don't know. I don't know if this.
A lot of them just went on forever. They were kind of
Kill
arcade
screen.
type games.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play for 20 hours, get to the kill screen.
Yep.
Or something.
I don't know. I couldn't get over the river, so I don't fucking know. But I mean, as a kid playing like NES, all kids played NES. You know, it didn't matter boys or girls. It didn't. Everyone had a system, and we'd swap cartridges back and forth, and that was really like a source of kind of bonding as a child with other kids. As I got older and like into middle school, that really dropped off. It was really hard to find girls that would even admit to playing games.
Yeah.
So I kind of became like, oh, I'm not going to talk about this aspect of my interests anymore.
Let me ask you something. Do you think, and I've been wanting to ask you specifically this question because my wife asked me about it the other day. I think she asked me, somehow you came up in conversation, Daria, and she was like, did Daria like no other female gamers when she was a kid? And I'm like, I don't know. It's a good question. So
I have the answer. There were no other female gamers when she was a kid.
Yeah, but what I was going to ask Daria was, do you think there were, but they were just closeted gamers, like you said?
I think so. They're closeted. Because when I got into high school, I would discover kids I'd been friends with for years, and she'd have a slumber party, and I'd go over, and it's like, you have a Super Nintendo attached to your TV in your bedroom, and you're playing Super Mario RPG. How have we never discussed this before?
Yeah.
You're the only person in the world I know that actually plays other role-playing games, and topic had never come up. It wasn't even, and then I had another friend.
Taboo.
Another friend. We're at her house. We're hanging out. She's got a Genesis in her closet.
Wow.
And it's like, what is this?
These are closeted gamers, man.
They really are, because it wasn't. So girls reach a point where, and it really happens in middle school, where they're expected to be more mature, even with each other. It's like the accepted topics to talk about are boys, clothes, makeup, which are all things I suck at. Maybe not so much boys now, but then I couldn't relate to them on this level, so I had a lot of trouble fitting in. But even toys, like it wasn't cool to talk about your Barbies, even though we all had them.
Right.
Like, we didn't give them up in elementary school. We still had them, and it's just
In
like
middle school.
Yeah, in middle school, you'd play them with your younger siblings, or you'd find some other girl that's like, okay, we're gonna play this on the weekends at your house, but you do not talk about this outside of this. This does not leave Vegas situation. So yeah, it was games kind of fell into that kind of toy category of things you just didn't discuss. And some girls probably gave it up entirely, but I stuck with it because I'm a huge dork. And then again, having trouble relating to people in school, you come home and that's kind of your escape. Just kind of diving into a video game. It's like, okay, well, I might not have friends, but I've got this, 60-hour RPG I can forget my troubles with.
So Daria, I have to admit, like, I hang around with a lot of shmup people, and there's no getting around it. A lot of these shmup people, they have like what I would consider sexist, I guess, views on female gamers and stuff like that. And a lot of the theories people put forward about why girls don't like games or which girls like games, a lot of people I hear put this theory out that it's just the social aspect that attracts girls to games. That basically they don't play games in isolation without, other people. You know what I mean?
That's bullshit. But I mean, I guess there is a social, like, now games are a lot more popular than they were when I was younger, though.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's multi-billion-dollar industry now.
Yeah, it has completely flipped. So yes, you're going to have people that are going to get into something to meet people, just like people would get into wine clubs to meet people or book clubs to meet people. They're not fake readers, but it is something that they pursue to connect to other human beings. So yes, you do have some of that. But to say that an entire gender, 50% of the population, does not play games in isolation just for themselves is stupid. I mean, it's ignorant. Not every woman is made the same, obviously. People have different interests, and a lot of them are discouraged, again, younger, to not do that, so they fall away and they quit doing it. But you still have people who seek that that sort of satisfaction of having something just their own. So or they retreat into themselves. I mean, you still have those people.
Do you think that a lot of these female gamers,
I feel like I've really hijacked this topic.
No, it's good. It's good, actually. It's good. It's very good.
Opportunity to talk about it.
I don't remember.
I've actually never spoken with a girl who plays games, like, ever in my entire life. Like, ever.
You poor sheltered boy.
No, like, I've met lots of women and hung out with lots of women. None of them like games. None of them like them.
Well, this is what
Mark, you're saying that you hang out with a bunch of fucking neckbeards then?
Neckbeard.
I don't get what you mean. Neck bearded women? Is that what you mean?
No.
Okay.
That's
the
an
joke went over my
unfortunate
head.
visual.
I don't. Over my head there, but
you're in Idaho, man. I don't know what's up there. Potatoes.
No, I'm just saying that I've never actually, because people will talk about this, and I don't know.
It's a valid point, though, because a lot of guys have that same experience, and I had the same experience until I got on Twitter. Right, I got on Twitter in 2008, maybe 2009, kind of early.
Now they're everywhere.
Yeah, right, and that's where I met all these female gamers. But here's my question, Daria: is do you think that a lot of the ones like you that were closeted are now, like, later, once they got older, they just, now it's okay? Like, I guess my point is, do you think these female gamers were always here, or is it kind of like what Mark's pointing out, whereas he never knew any at all because there was less back then? Or do you think they've always been there? It's just that they're now, it's more cool to be open about it, I guess, or more accepted.
I think they were always there. I think, like you said, with Twitter, you find more, but now they have an outlet to really talk to each other and be like, oh, yes, I actually did play this too, or I was into this as a kid. But before, I mean, when you have just your local group and there's that huge peer pressure, social fear of being different or being outed as an anomaly, they're not going to speak up. They're not going to admit to it.
Yeah, and I probably, you guys, no, I don't know if any of you've been to Idaho, but Idaho's like ultra conservative. So even among dudes, I was pretty unusual for playing games, even among men.
You probably,
so, like,
in Idaho with conservatives, you're probably
Keno's
also running into a
games,
religious thing too.
Like, that would be, I would assume that'd be like considered like insane by the family or whatever, right? So that's what I would, but I'm sure like in more populated areas of the world, that's less of a thing.
It's weird to me that you did, because I grew up in a very rural area too that was incredibly conservative, and everybody I knew played games at some point or another.
So growing up, I would kind of grew up in two worlds. Like we lived down South Florida in the city in kind of an urban sprawl, but my grandparents lived in Central Florida, and we had a vacation house up there. So we spent a lot of time in farmland.
Yeah, podunk land.
Podunk outside of
my grandparents lived in
Is there what?
Is it really podunk in Florida?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Central Florida is like redneckville.
Redneck poverty.
Yeah, dude.
No.
Yeah, extremely.
So in that area, I had neighborhood friends, girls. But again, they all had NESs or Super Nintendos, and it wasn't that weird. You had it in your house. You would have it like you'd have a VCR. There would be the family Nintendo. And of course, they would play the games too, because that's what they're doing. Maybe they weren't as obsessed with it. And again, as you get older and you get more responsibilities as kind of a woman, we're expected to mature faster. It's not that we biologically mature faster. We have those social expectations to be more grown up earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
So
we get away with a lot of stuff. We get to be immature for a long time.
Yeah. We get all that feedback that no, that's wrong. You can't do that. You can't be interested in these things. So yeah, in face of all of those kind of obstacles, a lot of girls give up on it. Or the definition of what constitutes as a game changes. So maybe you've got girls that are like, oh, they didn't grow up a gamer, but yet we all have cell phones. We're all sitting here playing our mobile games.
That's something I have a bias against, though, is mobile games.
Oh, I do too. They're shit. But
most of them are shit. They're
complete shit.
Yeah, I don't consider people, and this is horrible, but I don't consider a lot of people to just play mobile. Like my wife plays mobile games sometimes, but she's not a gamer. She doesn't identify as a gamer. She doesn't want to even be called a gamer. She's like, I am not a gamer. Don't ever call me one.
Gamer's kind of a dirty
so it's like
anyway. So that's
I guess
like being like a punk rocker or something. Like you have to take on more than just you play games, right?
Yeah, or there's stereotypes that go along with it. Obviously,
I guess while we're on the topic, I can give my definition of what I think a gamer is, at least to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I would consider someone a gamer as someone who considers video games an important aspect of their life. Like if someone who's a musician, music is an important aspect of their life. And if you took music away, it would impact their life in a pretty major way. So I'd always say a gamer is someone who considers video games an important aspect of their life. And if you took video games away from them and said never again, that would be like a huge deal.
We'd be crushed. Yeah, any of us sitting here.
That's what I consider a gamer. And I know
and they'd be an asshole.
Right. Yeah. I know on Twitter it's like there's all kinds of like dumbass definitions of what a gamer is and what a real gamer is. But to me, I always think it really just comes down to how much you care. Like how much do you care about these or how much do you not care?
That's fair.
And the fact that we're all sitting here late at night talking about games, we care.
You can make a YouTube channel and spend thousands of hours playing and discussing games.
Which all of us can also relate to.
You're like totally a gamer.
Daria was talking about the balance, and this is something I've struggled with too, the balance of playing the games you want to cover on your channel and then games you would just like to play, but you don't have the time because you're working on your channel. And Stika, who was on a couple episodes ago, he talked about that. We were talking about Breath of the Wild. He's like, oh, I could never play Breath of the Wild because I'd never have time. I got to play games for my channel,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
We have problems that we invent ourselves.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I just say fuck it, and I play whatever.
There's also like the audience pushback where you play games and don't want and you get all mad about it. I'm like, well, tough shit. I'm gonna play.
Oh,
it
well,
anyway.
fuck those people. Sorry. I make stuff for me, not for. I'm glad when people watch, but they are not dictating what I do.
Well,
So,
if you're let's say you decided, you know what, for the next 3 months, no RPGs, baby. We're going
I was just about to say that.
I've
yeah,
covered,
beat 'em ups for 3 months. Let's go.
I have covered. I don't know if I've covered a beat 'em up, but I've done you know what? I want to focus on NES indie games, and I'm going to talk about this, this shoot 'em up. I'm going to talk about this puzzle game. I've done that with my channel. I don't get the views on those videos, but I know that going in. I know when I do a passion project, if it deviates from my topic, I know the channel's gonna suffer, but I also don't care.
Yeah.
Because I just want to do it.
I feel like too, it depends on like the genre you work in. I feel like RPG fans are generally more open-minded to like you covering other games and stuff. But like with shmups, if I cover anything that's not a shmup, like I did Final Fantasy VII video, it has like a massive dislike ratio, and everyone's like pissed off that I covered Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, me and Mark are
toxic fan base. I'm gonna tell you, that's awful. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, the shmup fan base is kind of.
You get it too, Aggro.
Yeah, the same for me. Yeah,
what the hell's an audience?
For Derek.
Sorry, dude.
So, Daria, to swing it back around, you were starting to talk about the game, but was there a game or a series or something where you realized, okay, I'm a gamer? Was it a thing that happened in childhood, or were you an adult before you adopted the term for yourself?
I don't know, because again, growing up in a family that does tabletop role playing, does board gaming, does video gaming, it was all kind of mixed together. So it's obviously a hobby that we did, and I knew that was like part of my identity very early. But I don't think I noticed that I don't know. There definitely was a time, even in my NES days, I knew I could talk to my friends anytime about like Mario games, like that was, we would swap Mario 2 and 3 back and forth. But I knew they weren't going to get into Ultima Exodus. I wasn't swinging them on Dragon Warrior. Like, I knew those were boring games that I liked.
Yeah.
So even then, I knew there was sort of that difference. I don't know. And as I got older, I felt more and more kind of an outcast. And I'm not even blaming the games, because the games were kind of my solace that I went to because I had trouble connecting to people. And that all kind of wraps up with, and again, with my ADHD, like social stuff I really struggle with. And it also caused me to fixate on topics that really interest me. So that, again, kind of reinforces why I'm so into video games. I don't really have a particular title or even system. It was just kind of like gradually over time.
Okay. Well, the answer is obvious. So it's RPGs,
Okay, so genre. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If you want to do genre, obviously it's RPGs for you. So yeah, by a mile. So that's cool. That turned into a very interesting discussion we just had there, and I'm glad we did that, actually. So, Keno, what about you, man?
I'm gonna turn my mic off after that discussion.
you gotta follow that, man.
You should let me go first, then let her go. I mean, it was good. I like hearing that, but just kind of piggybacking off of what she was saying a little bit. I was probably, even though I'm not a girl, clearly, I definitely was looked at as the odd one in the family. I don't remember having this open arms feeling as far as being a gamer or being into video games. I mean, they drew an association. My family quickly, they clumped me in with computers, video games, and math. And they were just like, okay, that's his thing. But I do distinctly remember family members coming in saying, hey, what are you doing? You playing a video game? Ain't that for kids? And, and just making a mockery more so is what I remember. The mockery, the tone, because I remember the inflections in people's voice, like it's a condescending tone, which is like one of my pet peeves. I can't stand it. I would want to punch somebody in the face. But anyway.
I have a story about that goes along with this that drove me insane. I was in freaking graduate school, and my grad teacher just veers, we're like, it's some like literary philosophy class. The conversation just veers into, let's talk shit about video games for the next hour. And this is like a graduate professor. He's like, video games, like he just went on and on.
Someone who's
like,
He had
never
to,
played
he had
one
to
in his
break
life.
out his old man card.
full boomer mode, like
Yeah.
everything. Like I was like, and of course everyone in there is we're all intellectuals. So, and I was the one dude. I was like, nah, bro. Like video games are legit. And I like started going on like why video games are cool. And no one in the class, everyone in the class is like, nope. So,
well,
yeah,
you know what?
I've been there so many
Fuck
times
them.
too.
Yeah, that happened. I've had that type of situation happen before, and you just like, okay, whatever. But yeah, I remember early on, I had family members who, like preteen age, I think that was probably the most where. But I like what I like what Mark said. You kind of go through that rebellious stage where you like, I don't give a fuck what people think about me playing the games. I'm still gonna do it anyway. I remember Blockbuster days. Whenever I knew a release or a title was coming out on Friday, what I would do is I would run out of high school and go straight to Blockbuster, pick up a copy because there would only be like maybe 5 copies of whatever title was out at that time, whether it was Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. I knew only like maybe a handful of copies would be available. So I would run there real quick, rent it, and spend the whole weekend, 24 to 48 hours, just balls to the wall, just playing video games until I beat that game because I've only rented it for that small little window of time.
Yeah.
So you only had that amount. Dude. So I knew that was probably one of the times, but as far as early times, like right away, I knew that I was like different or into video games was like when Mega Man 2 released in 98 or 88.
88, yeah.
And I probably was about 11 or 12, something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, I probably spent about a great deal of a month and a half, 2 months trying to beat that game because, you know, I didn't play the first one, so I didn't know about the sequence of order or saying, okay, you got to take this boss to beat this boss.
Yep, the weapons, yeah.
Yeah, none of that stuff applied to me. I mean, I still even have a copy to this day. But I was like, nice. I actually just picked it up not too long ago because I'm starting to go back into the retro bin again. But the big challenge for me wasn't even the bosses. It wasn't even the robots, the 8 robots. It was Dr. Wily's stages. That shit was challenging, like stupid challenging. And for my mind at that time, I remember just sitting there constantly trying to strategize. And I think that's what's always been the thing that stood out for me. You got all this shit. But
a lot of carts you got there.
Yeah,
the mega collection right there.
I think I've picked up some more like recently, just a bunch of shit. But anyway, that probably was the biggest time that I thought to myself, okay, I'm really into this. Like I'm sitting here, probably it was, I don't know if it was a weekend, weekday, and I'm really focused in on beating the game. And I remember telling my mom, like I'm shouting to my mom, because not only did you have to beat the 8 robots, but then you had to beat the Dr. Wily stages. Then you had to beat the 8 robots again. Then you had to beat Dr. Wily twice. And I'm doing all this at such a young age, and my mind is just invigorated at that point. So I was like, oh, yeah. And it's the same thing with, like, Super Mario 2. Like, some people claim that to be the hardest one, in their opinion, out of the trilogy, the first 3. But I beat all 3 of them. I mean, 2 took me less time than 3. It was harder, in my opinion. Like
I think so. I agree.
I think so too. Yeah, 2 is rough.
It's definitely weirder.
It's so different. Sure. That's because it's not really a Mario game, but yeah.
No, it's not. If you find a Japanese copy, I would advise you to play it. It's the same. All they did was switch out the characters.
Switch out the sprites. Yeah, Doki Doki Panic or whatever it's called.
And like like Mark was saying, oh, video games too, and he just took over and basically used the guy. That's what I used to do. I used to kind of like Daria playing off of a little bit of what everybody's been saying. You find out that these people have consoles, but their passion and their desire is nowhere near the magnitude of what yours is at. Like you can tell when you bump into another gamer because they start telling you about their favorite genre, their favorite game, or what did it for them, or if they're into shooters, or if they're into beat 'em ups, or whatever the fuck they're into. But yeah, that Mega Man 2 definitely stood out, and that just let me know that with a little bit of consistency and just keep going and re-strategizing, much like we all have done. if we get stuck at some point in the game, we have to regroup ourselves. Sometimes we even have to turn the damn thing off, come back and reassess everything and be like, oh. So even at an early age, I was already doing that and already knew that. So eventually my family started to catch on to the point where now people know if they're getting rid of a bunch of games or they're considering selling that shit, they're like, hey, let's hit up Keno. I'll literally get a message like you were talking about the Game Gear earlier, and my buddy from work gave me his Game Gear. He was like, oh man, I was thinking about you. Went through the garage. I've never had a Game Gear. And he was just like, yeah, I saw it. And it's like, yeah, you can have mine. I was like, cool. And he said, I think I have a Wii in there as well. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. Just send it to me.
Get ready to recap.
You know, that doesn't really happen to me. Like, I have family members that will reach out to other family members and offer them the games.
Grime.
Like,
the grime.
they've been to my house. They've seen the wall, but it's like, doesn't even occur to them to even ask.
Yeah, it's changed. It's changed a lot now, and it's one of those things where you had to. A lot of this generation now, they're fortunate where it's accepted, but you know, back in the 80s and the 90s,
yeah,
it was like small, very, very small groups, even amongst dudes or guys. I mean, I only had
definitely.
the one friend that actually did play video games as much as I did. Like we was playing Bionic Commando and Heavy Barrel and all kinds of like early on titles that locked me in, and I was like, oh, okay, you're into it as well. He was like maybe 1 or 2 years older than me, but all my other friends, they were more about being outside, playing sports and yada, yada, yada. And I mean, not that I didn't take advantage of those things, but it always would circle back to me playing video games. Like, I'm not, like my first system was an Atari 2600 and on up. I pretty much
same here.
Yeah. And I mean, like you were saying earlier, I didn't beat those games because they were like endless and they took up countless amount of time. That's all we had back then. We had these little 2D or 2-bit or 4-bit sprites that was on the screen, but that shit was amazing to us at the time, but it looks like shit now, but still you have that nostalgia. You still connect. I actually had got rid of all my cards because I was like, I don't want no more cartridges. I'm tired of blowing into those suckers. And
I did that too. I regret it.
Flashcard baby.
And I got rid of everything. My Nintendo, my Super Nintendo, my Sega.
Oh.
So did I.
I got rid of it, but then I picked up my Retron 5. Like I said, I do my retro Sundays, and I was like, I still have what is it? Super Mario Brothers 2, but it's on a mystery cart. And
a mystery cart.
That's where the label's missing.
Oh, okay.
I've got one of those. Mine's like
I don't know what
I think it's a bus to move or something.
It's
SNES.
I don't know where it's at. I can't find it, but it's got like it's because I got it from the store called Retro Madness, and they sell nothing but retro stuff. And I won a copy, and it's like it's just a mystery card because you won't know until you get home and you plug it in, and you're like, oh, okay. So I kept it because you can't resell it.
That is cool.
So out of the carts that I have, I was able to keep it. So I plugged it in my Retron 5, and then of course you get that little spark that comes over you, and you're like, it's nice to play with the Retron 5 controller, but that controller truly is shit. So I'm like,
indeed,
I'm gonna go get me an NES.
Hyperkin makes terrible controllers.
Yeah,
they do.
Not great.
They are so bad.
So I ran out and got an NES controller, but this cost me like $15. I was like, what?
Yeah, NESs are going for 50, 80, 100 bucks sometimes now. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
okay.
Jesus.
And so that day, I went and picked up a cart. Well, I got that, and then I saw Mega Man 2 behind the glass. And then I saw a bunch of other titles. I saw Castlevania, I saw some other shit over there, and I was like, and that spark just happened. That rush of nostalgia just went over me again, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get a bunch of cards and shit. So I was back on eBay, and
that's a dangerous.
I think we've all,
most
of us have had this experience. It happened to me in college. You know, is when it, because I had sold all my shit back in high school. And then I think it was my third year in college. I started missing and I went to a flea market and I think I saw a Genesis, and I bought a Genesis, and I bought some games, and that was it, man. And it just,
I
I've got
sold
my wall.
nothing. I kept
You're
all
the
of
smart
my
one.
shit.
You're the smart one.
I did
was
as well.
stupid.
I kept everything.
You
Well, that
guys-
was
In
like
fact, when all my friends were throwing and selling their stuff away, I was like, give it to me.
Yeah, give it to me.
So I got like 80% of my stuff is from people just giving it to me during that like phase where they're like, oh shit, I got to start dating. I don't want girls to see I play games anymore. I got to sell this shit off. I'm like, give it to me, baby.
You're right, dude. I went through that phase.
Yeah.
Everyone did that. Everyone did that.
It got bad for me because I started collecting in 2012, and I mean, this is like when shit was like still.
Yeah, it's not a good time to start collecting.
Yeah, that's when prices started going up.
Yeah,
some stuff was still a few dollars.
It was still,
like,
it was
some
still,
of the
it
NES
was
stuff
still
was
in
only a
that
few dollars,
pocket
so
where
I
you
was
could
able
get
to
some
do that.
deals.
So I collected fast. I probably 2012 to about 2015, 2016, I went through, and it got so crazy. My closet was full of games, and my shelf, I had 2 shelves, and they were stacked, and I had probably at least 13 consoles, and my wife was just like, what are you going to do with all this when we move?
oh no.
And the move
We don't need to worry about that.
The move sparked me. That was the first time I ever like purged out of my collection. It hurt, but I was like, man, to move all these games, because I had got up to like 700 or 800 at that point, and I was like,
man,
I got to get rid of some of this stuff. So I did a purge, and it was good for me to do the purge. I don't advise people to do it because now it's just fucking expensive for no damn reason. Like, I know the real prices of some of these NES games are like 5, maybe 10, and they're like triple price now. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. Emulating games are fun, but it's still the physical cart that exactly.
What you got
Musha,
there,
a real copy of Musha, which is like
$300
$300 probably or something at
Yeah.
this point. Yeah.
I've had some pretty
I wanna play
expensive
that game.
games
Yes. Good
that
game.
shot up out of nowhere, but it's when you go back and you look, you like,
Daria's going to get one. We're all going to go get our expensive games.
I'm trying to think of an expensive game that I own.
These are all games that I bought after the fact too. Like Keno's saying, I started collecting again, and I just kind of I got a whole closet upstairs full of I guess they're more common games. My better stuff I got down here, but yeah, it's crazy, man. So Mega Man, basically Mega Man 2 was your moment. It sounds like when you.
Oh man, everything about the game, even to this day, the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
Stages,
it's
each
so good.
stage was different.
All right, Daria, what you got?
So what you got?
That's an Atlas title. You already know it's an Atlas title.
That's expensive.
Yeah,
we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up. Card only. This is up there with Musha.
Which one? What game is that?
Crusader Senti.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Atlas RPG on the Genesis.
Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it. Yeah,
that logo just does it for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't Atlas publish Dark Souls, the Dark Souls series? I mean, shit, I think, or Demon Souls and Dark Souls. I think
they do Persona and shit like that.
Yeah,
but they published.
Yeah.
They definitely brought over the first Demon Souls. I don't know who's publishing them now.
Okay, yeah.
But they were the ones that were like, hey, this is cool. You will like this.
Yeah.
They published. Ooh, is it Dodonpachi? I think they might have been involved in Dodonpachi.
Of course.
I mean, that's very significant.
Demon Souls, yes. That I love.
This actually is pretty fun. This one's not as bad as Bloodborne.
Yeah. There's a remaster coming out on PS5, Demon Souls.
Yeah.
I might have to get it because Demon Souls was my favorite of the Souls games. I love it still. Okay. So, Mark.
Joe.
Go for it.
Okay.
What's your moment, man? Do you have a moment? Obviously, your genre is shmups. We know that.
Well, though, that's my genre these days, but I didn't play shmups growing up at all.
Right.
Like, I didn't give a damn about them then.
Yeah.
But, so I feel like my gamer story is like from out of the womb, man. I'm straight up just gaming from day one.
Out of the womb.
And like, I feel like a little bit like, a kid hooked on drugs or something. Like growing up, like my parents were at first like, you need to tone this down. But at one point people just be like, okay, this guy's just a gamer. Like that's just how he is. In fact, in elementary school, I had this thing called the gamer gang that I put together. Where like
The gamer gang.
The gamer gang, and we're like a group of friends. And we're all about
Dirtiest
being
thing
gamers.
ever.
It is.
Oh,
Oh, we were cool, man.
Sure you were.
You were
I was
not.
a cool kid. But so I have some funny stories though about being a gamer. But I would say Super Metroid was the game that got me hooked.
Oh, okay.
When I was a little kid, my brother.
You were young, man, when you were playing Super Metroid.
I was like six
maybe. Yeah.
6. So my brother, just to be a jerk, decided, you know what, I'm gonna unhook the Super Nintendo, and unless you do what I say, I'm not gonna hook it back up, to make me do things for him. And so one day, when I was 6, I figured out how to like hook up Super Nintendo and stuff like that, and like hook up the VCR and all that. But anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about kind of being a teenager, though, being a teenage gamer and being like a closeted gamer, because there's definitely a thing when I hit about, puberty, like Daria is saying, that's when everyone's like, okay, gaming's for kids, gaming's for like losers. And so I went full closeted gamer for all of high school. Like no one knew I gamed.
I love that we've come up with this term, closeted gamer.
And like
it's accurate.
It is.
Yeah, and like when my friends would come over, especially if I invited girls over, I'm like hiding all my shoving the Super Nintendo closet, throwing shit over it. Like games? What are you talking about? I don't know what that is. But yeah, all through high school, I was totally closeted gamer. Never talked about games with anyone. But on the DL, I was like playing Super Mario, I went really hard on the Super Nintendo games in high school. So,
which is weird because we've had this conversation before, but you got consoles later, because if you were in high school playing Super Nintendo, it must have been.
Oh yeah, because he's younger than us.
He's 28 years old.
It was my childhood console, though. I just never stopped
playing.
I never stopped.
Okay.
I never.
Because Keno's talking about Mega Man 2 being his game, and I don't even think you were born when that game came out, dude. Or it was pretty close.
Thanks for reminding me.
That's like when I got into collecting was like 2002, and I had gotten really big into my NES again, and I was playing it all the time. I'm like, I want more of these,
Yeah.
I was playing a ton. I was playing like everything though. Then I had a PS2, GameCube, Xbox, and then retro. I was like,
you're weird, man. You're
everything.
Weird. For me, until I hit the age of about, I don't know, my mid-20s or maybe even 30, it was just like one generation of console at a time. That's what I played. That was it. I didn't play anything earlier than that. I just stopped playing stuff from the earlier
I feel
years.
like that was super, like my brother did that. Like as soon as PS2 came out, he basically wanted to sell our Super Nintendo. I was like, no way, you're not doing that.
Exactly. And I did. So, I sold all my consoles, everything, which was the stupidest. And then I bought them all back. I've got them all again. But it sucks not having my original consoles, my original games, My story also started with the 2600, but I was 4 years old or something. Like my uncle, my gaming story starts with my uncle, who I've talked about before on the podcast, I think, and we're still close. We still talk. He was my gaming guy. My parents had no interest, but he was a pinball guy. He really was into pinball, and he played some of the earlier games, like Atari and stuff. And he got me my Atari. He got me my Nintendo. He got me my Genesis. Got me my Super Nintendo. Everything, pretty much all the way up till I left for college. And to this day, he sends me games he finds at the flea market. My dad will come home with a big box of shit. He's like, here, your Uncle Doug got you all this at the flea market, big box of game, Genesis games or Nintendo games,
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, my uncle's super cool. And that's where mine started. But I don't think I adopted the term gamer or realized I was a gamer till way later. Like, I want to say it was Halo in college where I finally was like, this gaming is a huge part of my life. I think that's when it really hit me, because I've played Halo more than probably any other game ever. Like we just spent.
Did you do a lot of the LAN parties and shit?
Yeah,
like
dude,
that?
LAN parties.
I did too, man.
It was insane. It was like I flunked out of college because of Halo. I say it. It's like it's it's so bad, but it was the Halo box at Xbox, man. It got to the point where my friends all bought Xboxes just so we could have LAN parties, you know. We would just come over and we'd play all night, you know, all night for 2 nights, 3 nights in a row sometimes. And just crazy, dude.
That was the one moment in high school, I will say, where gaming was cool for like a window there, where everyone, all the popular kids, all the jocks, everyone got Halo, everyone got an Xbox, and everyone played at LAN parties. And it was like, I was like the Kung Fu master, you know, finally able to enter the arena. Like, I was destroying everyone in these LAN parties. They're like, whoa, Mark, how are you so good? I was like, I'm just talented, boys. I'm just talented.
Yeah, Halo was my jam, dude. Halo was I was really good. Like, we even played in a few tournaments, I think, like local tournaments in Orlando. I lived in Orlando at the time. And
like MLG stuff.
God, it was so long ago, man. I don't know. It was like 2001, maybe 2002, I think, when we were doing that. But yeah, it was that was my jam, Halo. Funny thing was, I never really played any other. I played a little bit of Halo 2, but going online ruined it for me, because people were cheating, and you'd have these little shitheads screaming into the microphone, you know, and I was just like, I'm done with this. And I haven't done much online gaming other than with just directly with friends. I haven't done much online gaming since then. That type of online gaming.
You didn't
with
hit
randos.
The COD 4? You didn't get in on the COD 4 at least a little bit? Wow.
COD 4 is in
like
Call of Duty, what, Modern Warfare or one of those?
That was the next huge one. After
never
Halo,
played a Call of Duty.
Call of Duty 4 was massive.
I haven't played any Call of Duties at all. See, I play a lot online, but it's only with close friends. I don't play with random people because playing with random people sucks ass, I think, personally.
I play a lot of ranked online, like fighting games and stuff.
Yeah, even Smash Bros. I play with friends. I don't play just with random people. You know, it's just, I don't know. I don't like the uncertainty of it. I mean, here's the thing: I did all the Dark Souls games you can play online, but the reason I liked it was because you usually don't directly interact with people. It's a very different system the way it's done. There was PvP. There was some PvP, which I did do a little bit of, and I was pretty good at. But you don't talk to them. You know, there's no microphone. There's no people screaming at you or any of that shit. But okay, we're gonna wrap this up. But before we go, Keno, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel, man, and where people can find you.
The channel has gone through some ups and downs. I'm in a better place, but the main thing that got me started was Twitter. Like you were talking about Twitter.
Yep, Twitter's what got me going too.
That basically started it out for me. So I was doing what a lot of people were just doing at the time, and I actually kind of just made my own twist. At first, I was just talking about video games that meant something to me. Like, I remember playing this video game, and that's why I bought it and put it back in my collection. But then a few years later, I started talking about my life, and that seemed to spark more interest in the video game aspect, because I did a video called How Video Games Saved My Life. And I just started talking about my own personal business, and that's
the first video I ever saw of yours, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I put it out, and I just checked it about an hour later, and the video was already doing several hundred views within like an hour. And then more and more people were like, whoa, what, man, you're still alive. And then it just gave people the opportunity to open up, and when I say the floodgates open up, it was just so many comments that just started coming out. So that began me just talking about my life personally. So I felt like I could talk about things that people normally wouldn't talk about in relation to video games at the same time. So really my channel was just about talking about video games, nostalgic memories, occasionally doing game reviews and stuff like that. And just basically that's what my channel's about. It's just talking about video games.
Yeah.
My life, and that's it.
All right. Well, thank you, Keno. Appreciate it. Daria, you've been on before, but go ahead and plug your channel.
Well, I obviously play RPGs, and you can find me at DariaPlaysRPGs on YouTube and Instagram, and just Daria Plays on Twitter.
And you have a new video coming out.
I do have a new video coming out. Well, I just released I guess last month, but I just released a video on. It was a video, and there were 10 games in that video. And
That's all you need to know, people.
That's all we need to know.
We don't need to know anymore. That's it. Check it out.
No, it was the 10 cheapest NES RPGs.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so because it's like, hey, you want to collect games, you don't have a whole lot of money to spend, you don't want to buy the $500 Genesis game.
Yeah.
What are your alternatives? How can you spend less than, I think, $20 was like the very upper limit.
Yeah.
But how can you spend like $10 a cart? And I went over some very good games and one really shitty game that you could buy with that kind of money. That was a fun video to make. And then the next one I have coming out is, like I said, 5 RPGs that I gave up on because they were too hard. And that's more of a, it's not really, it's a list, but it's way more of kind of my personal experiences with each of those 5 games and what I was going through and why I gave up on them at the time. And that should be coming out hopefully sometime this month, fingers crossed.
Good to hear. It's you're due for a video, so
I am.
All right, and Mark has a YouTube channel, The Electric Underground, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so check out his channel too. Derek also has a YouTube channel. Derek, what is your channel called anyway? Do you have
Lazy still? I think I broke it.
I think I broke it. Okay. All right. We all have YouTube channels, so check them all out. All right. And that's going to wrap it up. On behalf of Keno, Daria, Mark MSX, Derek Moore, our producer, I'm Zach Smith. We'll see you next time. We're the GameFellas. We are the GameFellas. Later.
Yeah.
All right.
Adios.
I am not, but I'm here.
Like all these new gaming PC chairs have the same shape.
I guess they do. Yeah. I guess they sort of do.
I'm sitting on a footstool and my ass is falling asleep.
I'm sitting on the
Why are you sitting on a footstool?
I know. I saw it when she got up. I was like, "Dang, you are all the way down."
Yeah.
I'm literally on the ground, so.
Yeah.
This is what I remember going in right during the COVID thing. This is what let me know that I'm definitely getting up there in age. This young girl, she's like, yeah, you know, you got to be wearing your mask and stuff. And I said, yeah, I'm in my 40s. She's like, and you're out here in the public? And I was like, aren't you worried about
it? She wouldn't have had to worry about COVID because I probably would have knocked her out with a crowbar.
God.
In Ocarina of Time, I finally got the 3 stones to enter the Temple of Time. And my friends had Ocarina of Time before me, and so I knew what happened. And I was super stoked to get Adult Link and to like go out and kill zombies and stuff. And so I just got the stone to go do that. And then I had to go to church, and I had to sit through church for like 4 hours and I was like freaking out. I was a little kid. I was super impatient. And then at the end there, I was like, I got a little bit bratty, and they're like, you know, praise Jesus and stuff. I was like, all right, we're done. Let's go home. And then the Sunday school teacher's like, what's wrong with you, Mark? I was just like, I want to get out of here. I got to go play my game. Like, I don't have time for this. And I got in so much trouble, and I got grounded.
Dude, nothing would be worse in my eyes than sitting in Sunday school when you've got an awesome game at home you want to play. Exactly. Man, it'd be like the worst.
It was like
that. Like I said, Retro Sunday, man. I do not.
Like, school's in the way. Church is in the way. I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
I thought
why does that thing's nose look like a dick?
I mean,
that'll be 2000.
When you were a kid, yeah, Mister.
Are you? Probably like 2000.
Are you 28 yet, Mark?
Yeah.
You are. You're 28. You're getting close to 30.
We don't talk about that.
It's all downhill after, man.
I was a teenager when you were born. I feel so awful.
We got the literal grandpa up here.
Bro, when you know when I work with a bunch of young 20-year-olds, and they're just like, when they even reference things, I just be like, what are you talking about? Or if I say anything, they're just like, if I mention a certain movie or a song or an album, I'll be like, yeah, man, I started working back in '95, and they were like, what? I wasn't even born. You're so old. Can't think of. I just beat it the other night. Well, I beat it again.
I love how oh, so you've beaten this game twice, but you can't remember the name of it.
That's grandpa brain he's got going on.
I'm trying to tell you. See, now you understand. You know my point. Hold on.
The number of nights that I've been playing a game and like drinking soda and not paying attention, and then it's like, oh, the sun is coming up. Like, oh fuck, I better go to bed.
It's like the gamer version of the walk of shame. When you go to bed,
yeah.
At like 5 in the morning, you're like,
dude,
you roll over,
I
you're
want
like,
to sleep for the night, so my family doesn't know I was up till 5.
Dude, it was
the pretending, like, oh, I've had a full night's sleep.
Yeah, you're like,
yeah, that happened in college a few times when I'd come home and me and my buddy would stay up playing Soul Calibur on Dreamcast till the sun came up. And a couple times my dad would come up and be like, you guys are still awake? What the hell? It's like,
no,
sorry.
you got up early.
Yeah, right. We got up at 5 a.m. to play Soul Calibur. Yeah, right.